There are some people who think attitudes and actions towards pedophiles should be adjusted.
We have a school administrator in California actually arguing that we need to, and they are, even as we speak, teaching pedophilia to children as just another option for sexual orientation. Give us the story.
You know, this concerned mother asked the assistant superintendent of curricula in the Brea Olinda School District in California why they were teaching children pedophilia and normalizing anal sex. What she says is, well, you know, this is a sexual orientation that has occurred, and so it's, quote, really important to teach the children about this, and they are.
Answer me why you're teaching pedophilia in school to ninth graders.
Teaching what?
Pedophilia, pederasty, right here.
I've explained to you that this is done because we are talking about historical perspectives of how gender relations and different types of sexual orientations have existed in history.
A growing storm of protest over these sex ed books, with drawings so graphic we can't show them to you on TV. For students curious about their sexual orientation or just wanting to know more about sexual activities.
And different sexual acts that are extremely harmful to them, that are going to put them in physical, emotional, and mental harm.
Too much too early. Too much too early. Let kids be kids.
They're against a new sex ed curriculum that would be taught in Fremont schools. It would include discussion of sexual orientation and HIV in 5th grade.
It's very sexually explicit to a lot of them.
The guidelines are about sex trafficking, sexual orientation, and how to support transgender and LGBTQ students. Now, proponents say this is all needed to make sure that all students understand their sexual health and that they are aware of the reality of the world that we live in.
Including Planned Parenthood.
We don't want students and children and parents to be in a situation where they are just mindlessly searching on the internet and who knows what they're going to find.
The Associate Superintendent for Instruction said the subject matter has been vetted by experts.
Is pedophilia a sexual orientation? A psychologist at the world-renowned Center for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto says yes. Dr. James Cantor says pedophilia is an inborn condition, not a learned sexual behavior.
Nobody chooses to be attracted to whatever it is that they're attracted to. Nobody chose to be attracted to adults. Nobody chose to be attracted to children.
The theory is becoming more prominent. Last fall, the American Psychological Association was criticized when its most recently published psychologist's manual called Pedophilia an Orientation.
A small group of psychiatrists and other mental health professionals is advocating changes to the way the American Psychiatric Association defines pedophilia in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or DSM, saying those they call minor attracted persons are being unfairly stigmatized. Dr. Fred Berlin, associate professor at Johns Hopkins University Medical School, was a keynote speaker at a conference held by the group in Baltimore, Maryland last week.
If there are people out there who are attracted through no fault of their own towards children, we want to try to assist them.
But Berlin admits there were some at the conference who suggested sexual relations between adults and children are acceptable.
The whole conference was slanted very clearly to the notion that pedophilia was a normal variation of human sexual conduct.
The group Berlin spoke to has one goal: to move society a step closer to accepting sexual contact between adults and children, even decriminalize it.
Absolutely. Oh, they're very clear about that. Their goal is to take all shame out of the lust for children.
Pedophilia is an unchangeable sexual orientation, just like, for example, heterosexuality. No one chooses to be a pedophile. No one can cease being one.
At American public libraries and in public schools, we're inviting transvestites to come to read to our kindergartners who actually have records, twice it happened in Houston, for having molested kids in the past.
And I felt like I had to ask, though, and I feel like I have to share it with you guys now, and it is disturbing, and I want to warn you, but I feel it's my responsibility to tell you guys because it is the truth, and I believe if we all knew this, we would dedicate much more of ourselves to stopping it. So when I asked what child pornography entailed, yes, it's nude images of boys and girls under the age of 18. But now, because of high-speed internet, it's also videos very prominently. And videos of kids, and by kids I mean prepubescent, visibly prepubescent. And they make the distinction because of the internet and there's so much content, these pedophiles are desensitized. Because of that, the kids are getting younger and the content is getting that much more devastating. So when this law enforcement officer told me this, I asked him how young are the young kids he's seeing, and he told me infants. And I have a 6-month-old baby. So I said, what does that mean? You know, like what does an infant mean? And he said, with the umbilical cord still attached. I know it's so devastating to hear this, and I'm really sorry to share this, but I'm grateful that you guys are listening, because this is actually happening, and it's important that we know this and that it resonates with us, so that we think about this in our days and in our personal life. So I asked them what happens in these videos, and unspeakable things happen, but I'm again going to speak about them, because I feel like if these kids are experiencing this, the least that they deserve is for us to hear what is actually happening to them. So no, it's not just touching. There is penetration. There is extreme torture and bondage. There's bestiality, which is having an animal penetrate the child or infant. There is incest. I mean, they said you think of it, anything you could think of, it's out there and it's being traded, and there's 30 to 50 million files a day being traded that we know of. I mean, you can see what's happening right now. And this is happening to any child and every child. 90% of children know their abusers. So, our children are at risk. You may know this person. It may be a doctor. It may be a coach. I thought that people that were working with children were people that wanted to protect them. But oftentimes these people who have this propensity for wanting to lure children, and they find out a profession that gives them access to children.